Daniel Bwala, spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, since joined us right here on the program. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
You were here in the studio and you listened to your very good friend Kenneth Okonkwo.
Yes.
You think your party stand a chance in this election?
Yes. You know, Kenneth Okonkwo, by the way, let me just get that off the chest. He believes that Labour Party is living in bondage because he's used to be an actor and living in bondage. But this is our case. So elections are upon us. From the commencement of this electioneering process, we filed our pleadings as contained in our manifesto. And in the pleading, as claimants, we came before the Nigerian people. And we made out a case. During the campaign rallies and debate, we call witnesses. We have endorsements, we have points of contact, we have engagement, we have interactions and all that. And the case we made out was very straightforward. So today, we're adopting our final address. And what are the issues have we formulated? Case number one, has APC made out a case, having regard to the last 8 years, have they made out a case that warrant the Nigerian people to vote them? And our argument is in the negative, because now nobody wants to have another 4 years of the last 8 years. There is not a single person you see on the street, and you ask them whether they will want the last 8 years to be repeated. Even in their dreams, they will not. Why? APC made out a case of 3 points. They lost in every one of them. This assessment for their failure is not just observed, is not observed by us. The Nigerian people have done that, and that culminated in Naira policy, which Nigerian people will act. Issue number two, having ruled out the possibility of the Nigerian people voting the APC, the issue number two is that, having regard to the other political parties who are in contest, has PDP made out a case that warrant PDP to be voted for over and against them? And our answer is in the affirmative. And the point is straight. Atiku clearly from his manifesto has laid out 5 points that so far experts and economists have reached an assessment. And they said that of all the manifestos, ours present actually a better path to the future. But above everything that is in the manifesto and the argument that has been made so far, Atiku is coming into this with superior experience over and above the other candidate, by the virtue of the fact that he has had the opportunity of sitting in that seat of national government. This is an exceptional opportunity that the other candidates didn't have. And more so, at this time where the situation is so dire and existential, you cannot afford to give this nation at this time to a learner, to an amateur, or somebody who does not understand. If you go to Peter Obi, all he will tell you is Anambra. Nigeria is beyond the sphere of Anambra. If you meet Tinubu, he will call Lagos for you. The dynamics in the north, in the west, and the rest of the places are not the same.
You don't think a track record matter in this race?
I believe track record is much more fundamental, and both of them have not been able to establish a track record. For example, the Lagos of Tinubu, as early as at last year, mid-last year, it was adjudged as the second worst city to live and work in. The Lagos of Tinubu is a Lagos where up till this moment people deliver and give birth in the slums. The Lagos of Tinubu is the Lagos that right now you have not been able to overcome what we call the traffic problem. But beyond that, the character of the candidate that governs Lagos is a dynastic type. So when he comes to national government, while he's trying to grapple with the realities of what the national government is, he's going to bring in, because he has always said, I will do here what I did in Lagos. What did he do in Lagos? In Lagos, the State House of Assembly they were like boy, what they say. His daughter is the Iyaloja of Lagos. So that means the entire market people of Nigeria will be under the control of his daughter. His son controls a certain part of entertainment in Lagos. And then you have his brother who is owning Owando and entered into a transaction with NNPC, which has not been cleared for the acquisition. He probably would have taken over the oil blocks in the country. So there is not a record there. Now, if you come to the record of Peter Obi, I consider him like a falcon, somebody with promise, but he has not yet matured. Why? Because in the 8 years he governed in Anambra, the infrastructure of Anambra up till date is decayed. And this is testified by people who have succeeded him. He did not, instead of investment, he put the money of Anambra into a bank called Fidelity Bank, to which he was a chairman, and gave the impression that he believed in savings. He talked about what do you call it to production? That's
Consumption to
consumption.
production.
Consumption, their trademark is consumption to production through agrarian. Now, what is it about this policy that can be juxtaposed with his life? Because you just talked about track record. All of his life, all of his business is production. I mean, it's consumption, never a production. He took all of his wealth that could have been used in Nigeria to recruit people when you open up businesses. He took it outside the shores of Nigeria and hid them up under a trust. When Premium Times confronted him about the fact that he hid the money there, he said he did not know at the time that there was anything like code of conduct law. But code of conduct is what is taught in elementary school. Atiku, on the other hand, put all of his investment in the country by establishing different companies for which Nigerians were recruited, empowering their lives, open up schools to empower people on education. So when Atiku comes on board and say, I want to look at education, it is not just in the mouth. Where is the school established by Peter Obi? None. Where is the school established by Asiwaju? None. Now, where are the companies that Atiku can point at and say, it's my company? They are all over the places. Peter Obi, apart from the department store, which of course everybody knows, in the case of Tinubu, where is his company?
So, I mean, have you been able to convince Nigerians enough to get their vote? You spent the last few months doing that.
Right. We have been able to, in my view, convincingly persuaded the Nigerian people in comparison and in comparative analysis to look at us as a people with viable option. Why? Because what we have identified, for example, national unity. When you see the Americans talk about the American dream and the pride of the American, is because they build the nation around a consensus of equal opportunities. So an American in Florida gets the same opportunity as the American in New York. That is not what we have seen here. APC has mismanaged the unity. If you go to a part of Nigeria today, they will tell you they don't believe they will ever be president. Or there are certain things they can't even dare.
Do you think that Nigerians can trust your candidate, who's you've explained his track record,
right,
and perhaps make a judgment of what they've seen in the 16 years of the PDP to the APC, then perhaps what he wants to do differently based on his manifesto? And if there is one thing that you can pinpoint on in his manifesto and you don't have any other chance at all to say a second one, what would that be about your candidate?
Atiku Abubakar will structure Nigeria. Atiku Abubakar believes 70% of the problems we are confronted with in the country, if we are better restructured, that we can address that. So insecurity problem has a part in the structuring. Equal opportunities, economic opportunities to people has a restructuring component. Education has a restructuring component. And in all these other areas that he talked about. Now, an Atiku has lived that life. Atiku has had it before. In 1999, when they came on board, they were all like freshmen in the college. Obasanjo had to go around the world to seek for debt cancellation and reduction. Atiku was tasked with the responsibility of headhunting people that will run the economy. Look at the individuals today. They are some of them have gone to be finance minister, CBN governor, all of Nigeria. He headhunted them. And they cut across the country. There was not an issue of, he gave this part of the country more opportunities than the other. That's why today, when you talk about trust, there is no part of Nigeria Atiku Abubakar will go into. There will not be room for him to sleep. There will not be people for him to engage with.
So you look at the PDP,
right,
and that's where I started my question from. Can Nigerians trust the PDP again?
Yes. Nigerians have now seen, like the way they say, when you don't chop rice and beans, you go know which one be better. Nigerians have seen PDP in 16 years. And during this period of 16 years, Nigerians saw the establishment of critical infrastructure of the government that preserve our democracy, such as ICPC, EFCC, and many others. Nigerians also saw all the good and the bad of PDP and the range within which they didn't go past that. It was during this period that PDP presented Nigeria as the largest economy. I remember in those days when students in the university, if your CGPA is 4.0, you get 300,000. There is no scholarship in APC. They rather keep them at home. And I remember during that time, they introduced concept of creativity. If you are a student and you come up with any creative ideas, they go ahead and preserve that your intellectual right. We don't see that anymore. Even in terms of developing a broad-based approach to economic growth and development. During the days of PDP, you saw the value chain to a point where that man that is on the street is able to have a recharge card pocket place, kiosk, and people are more productive during that time than now. Now these people introduce a socialist ideology, 100% socialist ideology. Everybody depends on the government. And the kind of corruption that APC presented, during PDP they said it was so corrupt that APC was going to present a different path. In this APC, have you not reported mosquito, all kinds of animals swallowing money? You have reported that. There is part to, and they talked about we didn't have resources, we didn't have resources. All you need to do, 10.1 trillion was realized, I think last year or so, by our internally generated institution. What have they done with it? Is borrowing, borrowing, borrowing. Now, if you look at the manifesto of APC and Asiwaju, you will discover that every promise that he put in there, unless he can show that there's a plan to create production, generate Nigerians to everything is about borrowing. And they may end up borrowing your intestine, your kidney, and every part of your being for the things that they want to do. But much more than that, they can't be trusted because Nigerians have seen it in the last 8 years. The last 8 years is the worst that has ever happened in the history of the Republic, even from when Nigeria gained independence. We have seen the worst of Nigeria in the last 8 years. Nobody will want another 4 years of the last 8 years. They've been dismissed. In terms of Peter Obi, I was granting an interview to international media yesterday when they were asking of his phenomenon. I said Peter Obi is packaged by 3 elements. Element number 1, somebody wanted a third term, and Peter Obi present that path. Element number 2, Peter Obi present himself as an opportunistic person. There was a movement and he cashed into it. He does not believe in any of the ideology. Because the white man was asking me if Peter Obi is like a revolutionary like Macron. Macron had ideology. Macron built. Was Peter at any material time with the answers? Have you seen Peter in any activities around the policies they gather?
You don't think that his popular slogan of taking Nigeria from consumption to production is any kind of ideology?
It's the biggest scam actually. Because one, when you say you're taking Nigeria from consumption to production, there are 2 ways you can do that. 1, clearly define the how. And number 2, say, I have done it before, I will do it again. This is what Atiku has been saying. When he talked about education or restructuring, national unity, after he outlined them and defined them, he will say, I did it before, I'll do it again. Now, Peter Obi's business is a consumption-based business. Even to the toothpick is imported. When you talk about production, when you establish school and train people, is production economy. You are translating the country from agrarian economy to a service-based economy, and then you are going to a knowledge-based economy. 3, Peter Obi is a bigot. And allow me to explain, because I'm not saying that with a negative tone. If you look at the definition, a bigoted person is somebody who is so fixated to a particular person that he used that as a basis to discriminate the other. In other words, Peter Obi is the direct opposite of APC. And you ask them the question here. One is extreme on religious identity. The other one on religious. We need a balance. Now, Peter Obi, even among the Christians, we're not talking about Christians and Muslims, he divided them.
But how is your candidate different? You seem to be speaking more about Peter Obi. Does he look like a threat to your party?
No. We answer questions. Can I be honest with you?
Go ahead, please.
I told him yesterday, in the international television, I said you might be shocked to wake up in the morning and see that you have over-bloated and overestimated Peter. We did a research. 57.3% of the engagement for Peter Obi on social media were algorithm manipulated. And most of these people are bought or that they don't even live in Nigeria. So when Peter Obi stepped out of the social media and went into the mainstream reality in campaigns and rallies, what did you see? You didn't see anything there. And they will tell you, we know they give shishi. Peter Obi arguably has been spending the shishi, and we have seen that from reporting in Jos, in Potiskum, and in every part. Above all, sir, they say Peter Obi is a new phenomenon. And the reason why I'm saying that is to be able to answer, in what area is Peter Obi a phenomenon? This is a politician for over 20 years. This is a politician who has been a governor. This is a politician in the past 20 years of his politics cannot point at one thing that he did to suggest his belief in the young people. He did not empower young people in his state. He cannot.
So that's what I'm asking. You seem to be fixated, and you are perhaps the words you use to describe Peter Obi is what is playing out. You seem to be fixated about Peter Obi, and I'm saying Does he look like a threat for the chances of your candidate?
And the answer is simple, like I told you. I have dismissed APC with a swoop by one definition. The Nigerian people will not want 4 years of the last 8 years. I established those things to you. I don't need to go further to talk about why Nigerians should not vote for Asiwaju. There is not a single day in their campaign there was no gaffe. I am telling you the truth and I lie not, that Nigerians people cannot vote APC. And it is not just about Asiwaju, it's about the party. That is the logo that you will see on the day of election. Now, the reason I'm reacting to Peter Obi is because the questions that come to us, they tend to try to suggest that Peter Obi is a new phenomenon, Peter Obi is liked, Peter Obi is this. Let me even tell you the aspect of religion, and I address my people. Most of the people that he used religious sentiment to steer their emotion in this election, to make it seem that on one side it is jihad, on the other side it is a Christian war. Let me tell you today, for every single Christian that vote for Peter Obi, they are voting for Asiwaju. That's why Asiwaju they are watching. I got intelligence not more than 3 weeks ago. That do you know that Asiwaju and APC sponsored some of the people that went for Peter Obi's rally just to keep him alive in the race? Because they felt as long as he's alive, he will take away the vote of the of PDP. So for anybody,
so is it true that he's going to take away the vote of PDP?
Sentimental vote, quite frankly, he will.
Where? Which areas are these?
Where the vote is take, he will take part of the votes in the southeast. He will take small part in the south. But let me tell you, and now I'm going to be frank, very frank with you. Peter Obi, the last time I say he will not win any state in the north. But between that time and now, 1 or 2 things have happened. I can concede to one state in the north that Peter Obi will win. But let me say something.
Which state is that?
It should be obvious. Now, the governor of that state is religiously inclined to that agenda and has used a bad rhetoric for it. But hear this, and it will shock you. To be a president, you must be accepted by every part of Nigeria. That's why the requirement is you must score 25% in 24 states of the federation. Now, they talk about youth. The youth are with him. The youth want to take Nigeria. Hold a minute so you don't become discriminatory. More youth are in PDP. And I can say that even in APC than in Labour. So to assume that Peter Obi is the movement of the youth in Nigeria is nothing more than discriminatory, because the youth in PDP have also the right, they have the right, first of all, to stay with the establishment if they so wish, but we are not even an establishment. So this is the point I'm saying. Peter Obi does not give me a sleepless night. But everywhere we go, we get confronted by Peter Obi phenomenon. In fact, here on your show, as soon as I entered, your first question was, your friend left. So when people want us to react, we have to be able to tell them. But Peter Obi is highly overrated, highly overestimated. Imagine, I want you for a moment to close your eyes and imagine Peter Obi sits in the seat of power as the president. Probably does not have more than 3 people in both houses of the National Assembly. Where will he perform production to consumption? Where will he perform? Now, people who are intelligent, they know you win election, you win a substantial number in the National Assembly, then your objective can be achieved. Secondly, Peter Obi and Dati, till this day, have not been able to define in simple terms their security objective for the Nigerian people. They have not. They will say, trust us when we go there. They will never do anything. Has Peter Obi denounced IPOB?
I guess enough about talking about Peter Obi, because then I've asked you 3 consecutive questions. You kept going back to Peter Obi. So I doesn't. No, but you've campaigned more for Peter Obi than you have campaigned for your. For so you've considered that Peter Obi is likely to take Southeast and some part of South.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I say he will get some votes. Let me tell you, PDP is winning 3 states, not less than 3 states in the Southeast.
What about South?
PDP is winning all but 1, and that one maybe or maybe not. And let me tell you today.
Which one is that?
You would also know
that. Is it Rivers?
No, certainly not Rivers.
So PDP is going to win Rivers?
PDP is
in your books.
Rivers clean. And I bet you PDP will win Rivers. Let me tell you something.
I'm amazed that you're confident.
Let me tell you just why. They started out as Jackson 5. If you know the story of Michael Jackson and his group, who was the first person that broke out of that, the Jackson 5? It was Michael Jackson. Didn't you hear a story credited to one of the governors who said he deceived us? We all agreed to go this way and he going the other way. That crashed his entire political career. Do you think that Rivers will agree to the NM ticket? I want to ask you soul-searching question.
If Atiku does not win this race, what would you say would have been the cause?
What would have been the cause?
If you lost.
Now, let me put it this way, and he said it. He said, if I lose this election and it's free and fair, I will accept it as my fate. But let me tell you today, these elections are not going to be conducted on social media. You know, Peter Obi has already won the presidency on social media. All the polls you are seeing, that is a different world, though. He has won that presidency. On Saturday, we are going to the reality check, where Peter Obi will not be able to see the light of the day. Now, in what area or in what way will Atiku lose the election? Sheun, if you finish this program and you walk out of this place, you may not want to be seen on camera, but you will lament the last 8 years. Your fortune would have been much better than it is today, only because they destroyed opportunity. If you know anybody, I know you will not answer, and I'm not suggesting you should answer, that is going to vote and the person tells you he's going to vote APC, I am very sure you will not want it. And I'm not asking you to agree or to disagree. But
the question that I'm asking, that then brings is, how does that help the cause of your candidate? Has he been able to convince Nigerians enough that the votes should come in his way?
So this is going to be the third time you ask the same question, because you want me to always believe that you are consistent with the question and I'm not answering. You asked the first question, and my answer was, one, Atiku brings to the table experience that none of them have. And I established what I mean by that. I said Atiku brought a manifesto with a well-defined agenda for Nigeria that third parties are judged that is the best comparable to the others. Then the third one, I say for the purposes of uniting Nigeria, you need a leader that will bring everybody together. And I told you, I beat my chest. I say, Atiku, there is no part of the country. Let me even tell you this, sir. Which part of the East will Tinubu go to? Do you know what they did to them in APC primaries? They charged them all up to go and run for president and chase them all out of that place. Tinubu cannot go to anywhere in the Southeast, apart from 1 or 2 people that for business reasons they will talk to him. Where will he go to in the South? And above all, the winner of this election is the winner of Northwest. All
right. Let me get your final thought on this one.
Yeah.
And I asked Kenneth, and probably it would be right for me to ask, stylishly I ask you a similar question. If your candidate lose out in the election of Saturday, what would you say would have been the cause?
What would have been the cause?
Yeah, for his loss.
Well, the only thing that will make him lose is if it is rigged. But if it is free and fair and he loses, he will accept it in good faith. It's free democracy. There have been many elections he has conducted. Heavens didn't fall. But you have had the label, and that is the bigoted part. When you hear about obedient. Now, a few days ago, a very renowned pastor in Nigeria who has been marketing Peter Obi saw the light. And he said, Peter Obi is not that person. They nearly finished him on social media. That has been the trend. When I left APC, they were all praising me on social media. I was just seeing my followers. Piri, piri, piri. When I declared for PDP, there is nothing I did not hear. These are the people that he is inflaming. He is not the person. Aswaji is not the person. Sheun on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it is concluded, I'll be the first person to come here. And you will tell me, Daniel Bwala, well done for good work. Congratulations. The next president was the person you represented as his spokesman.
If you were a prophet, I would say we'll see about it. But since you're a lawyer and a spokesperson of your party, and I know you're speaking politically, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much, Daniel Bwala, spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, and Atiku Abubakar in the presidential election. Thank you so much indeed.